Welcome to lecture on algebra and number theory. In this video, we shall see symmetric groups and direct products. The terms that are discussed in this video are rigid motions of a triangle, permutation on sets, symmetric group or permutation group, rigid motions of a square, direct product of groups. First, we shall see rigid motions of a triangle. Consider an equilateral triangle whose vertices are labeled like this: 1, 2 and 3. Is this the only way of labeling the triangle? No, certainly there are other ways also. For identification, let us name this as labeling as E. We shall do some operation on this triangle or some transformations on this triangle so that the resulting image will be symmetric to this image, but the labels have changed. First, fixing this center, rotate this triangle through an angle of 120 degree anti-clockwise. Like this. What happens? The labels have been changed. In place of 1, we have obtained 2. In place of 2, we have obtained 3. In place of 3, we have obtained 1. So this new labeling, I am naming it as R1. So rotation 1. You may rotate this triangle anti-clockwise through an angle of 240 degree to get this new labeling R2. Here 1 is replaced by 3, 2 is replaced by 1 and 3 is replaced by 2. So there we have, initially we had the labeling as 1, 2 and 3. Now we are having 3, 1 and 2. Suppose if we rotate this again to an 120 degree anti-clockwise, you will get this triangle, this initial labeling. So these two transformations are called rigid motions of a triangle, 2D rigid motions, two-dimensional rotation. Now we can consider these three straight lines, that is the medians. For equilateral triangle, medians and the altitudes are same, equal. This bisects this angle also. Consider the line joining the vertex 1 to the midpoint of the opposite side. So fixing this line, you can flip or find the reflection of this triangle so that the resulting will also be a equilateral triangle where these two vertex label will be interchanged like this. So keeping this one fixed, these two labels have been interchanged. So we obtain 1, 3, 2 as the new labeling. I call it as F1. Similarly, you can keep this median joining the vertex 2 with the opposite side and flip these two angles. So here the new labeling is 3, 2, 1. Similarly, the final one, fixing the line joining the vertex 3 with the midpoint of the opposite side, the vertices 1 and 2 will be interchanged like this. So the new labeling is F3. We have 2, 1, 3. So these are the 6 ways of arranging these three numbers 1, 2 and 3. These 6 labelings are only possible ways. Let us see how. This arrangement of finite numbers or finite objects in a linear way is called as permutation. That permutation is a function. Let us discuss in detail. Now, what is a permutation? Permutation is the number of ways of arrangement of objects in a linear order. You are having some n objects. In what ways those n objects can be rearranged? That number of ways we call it as permutation. It may also be defined as the set of all one-to-one functions from a finite set onto itself. First, for example, let us consider a set A which has 3 elements 1, 2 and 3. So duplicate this set and define one function f1 as follows. So f1 is a function from the set A onto set A. So we have duplicated it. You may compare this with the rigid motion f1 of a triangle where we kept the vertex 1 fixed. That is 1 is mapped onto 1, 2 is mapped to 3 and 3 is mapped to 2. This is a function which is one to one. That is each element has only one image and each of these element has a pre-image. So this function is one way of mapping the elements of A onto itself. Here in the second example, the number 3 is fixed, that is 3 is mapped to itself and 1 and 2 are mapped opposite. 1 is mapped to 2 and 2 is mapped to 1. In rigid motions of a triangle, we called this as F3. Similarly, you can have another function where 1 goes to 2, 2 is mapped to 3, 3 is mapped to 1. We call this as R1. In rotation 1, we have seen this. So this is a normal representation of function. But for permutation, we will write as this form, as in this form. So in this form, the permutation f1 or the function f1 maps the elements in the first row to the elements in the second row. So in first row, you write all the elements of the set A. And in the second row, the corresponding images have been written. 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 2. This is the mapping. Similarly, here you have F3 equal to, in first row, the elements of A arranged in order 1, 2 and 3. And in the second row, you have 2, 1 and 3. 1 mapped to 2, 2 mapped to 1, 3 mapped to 3 itself. Similarly, you are having the representation R1. In this permutation, you have the arrangement as 2, 3 and 1. So as already seen, we are having 6 different ways of arranging these 3 numbers. How does it happen means, we are having 3 elements in the domain. The first element can be mapped to any of these 3 elements in the codomain. So the first element has 3 options. So once it is mapped, that same element cannot be mapped to the second element. So leaving the mapped element, you are having 2 other options for the second element. After the second element has been mapped, you will have only 1 element left for the third element. So first element has 3 options, second element has 2 options and the third element has only 1 option. So totally 3 into 2 into 1, we will have 6 ways of these one-to-one onto function. That is the 6 ways of arranging the objects in a linear order. Take n is equal to 3 and we are having a set capital A with 3 elements 1, 2 and 3, and the set S3 contains the set of all one-to-one onto functions from that set A to itself, A onto itself. And in functions, we can do an operation called composition of functions. So as mentioned earlier, this S3 contains 6 elements: E, R1, R2, F1, F2 and F3. As we already have seen, the rigid motions of a triangle, there we have some other form of this arrangement. So E is the function where 1 goes to itself, 2 goes to itself and 3 goes to 3 itself. So this we call it as identity mapping. These other mappings are obtained by the rigid motions of a triangle. We have named like this. So modulus of S3 has 6 elements only. Now we shall do the composition of function for a certain example. Here we are having 6 elements. So 6 into 6, we are having 36 operations on this set. Consider the element R1, that is the function R1. You are going to operate it again on R1. So I have written R1 twice. R1 is nothing but the permutation where 1 goes to 2, 2 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 1. Now you are going to find the composition of the function. So here 1 goes to 2. So you collect that 2. In this second set, in the second function, you consider 2, and where does that 2 or what is the image of that 2? 3. So from first mapping, you are considering the image of 1 and that is 2, and the corresponding image of 2 is 3. So 1 goes to 2 and 2 goes to 3. Therefore, the image of 1 will be 3 under the mapping R1, R1. So when you are operating R1 twice, you will get image like this. Similarly, the second image, the image of the second element 2. The image is 3 under the operation R1, and from this you have 3 goes to 1. So we simply say 2 goes to 3 in the first permutation and 3 goes to 1 in the second permutation. Therefore, the resultant is 2 goes to 1. Similarly, 3 goes to 1 and 1 goes to 2. Therefore, 3 goes to 2. So we have obtained the new permutation or new function. What this function corresponds to, that you have to see from the table. So R1 into R1 is R2. You can also remember this using R1 is rotating anti-clockwise to 120 degree. Again you are rotating 120 degree. So totally you are rotating this E to an angle of 240 degree anti-clockwise. That we have named it as R2. Just for this 1, 2, 3 alone, we can use that rigid transformations, rigid motions of a triangle. Generally, you use this method. We'll see another example. We are not going to perform all the 36 composition of functions, but just to understand, let us see another. So R2 into F2. Consider R2. What is R2? R2 is this permutation where you are having the second row as 3, 1 and 2. In F2 you are having 3, 2 and 1. Okay. So you are going from the left only. So in the first element 1 goes to 3 and in the second element 3 goes to 1. So resulting 1 goes to 1. Similarly here 2 goes to 1 and the result 1 goes to 3. Therefore 2 goes to 3. And finally 3 goes to 2 and 2 goes to 2. So 3 goes to 2. So this is the intermediate value. One image you take and that one the corresponding image in the second function you take. That is the final answer. So the resulting element is like this with 1, 2, 3 in the first row and in the second row you are having 1, 3, 2. That is 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 3, 3 goes to 2. That is F1. Next you can see that R1 into F1 is F2. This also you can verify. Now we shall find the inverse of each elements of this set S3. That is, we are going to find the inverse function for each of these functions. First we shall consider the function R1, that is the permutation R1, which is given by the arrangement 2, 3, 1. So to find the inverse, first we shall write it as R1 inverse is equal to, the first row contains the element 1, 2, 3. As you see any of these permutation, in first row we are writing 1, 2, 3. To find the inverse image, normally when we say that R1, a function maps one element to another element means we say the image of 1 is 2. Similarly, we will say that pre-image of 2 is 1. So when 1 is mapped to 2, image of 1 is 2 and pre-image of 2 is 1. So when a function is defined from one set to another, then the inverse function is from the codomain to the domain. Here the permutation is on the same set, so we are having A only. So to write R1 inverse, we have to write the pre-image of 1, 2 and 3 with respect to this mapping R1. So under R1, the inverse image of 1 is 3. That is, we have to look at 1 in the second row and the corresponding pre-image in the first row. So the pre-image of 1 is 3. So the inverse function R1 inverse will have 1 mapped to 3. Similarly, the inverse image, the pre-image of 2 is 1. So here correspondingly you write 1. Similarly, the pre-image of 3 under the mapping R1 is 2. So here you write 2. After writing all the pre-images for these elements, you compare this obtained permutation with all these functions. You will see that this also belongs to this set only. So this corresponds to R2. So inverse function of R1 is R2. We may verify that R1 into R2 will give E, the identity element. We shall see another example. Consider the permutation F2. F2 is defined like this. So to find F2 inverse, first we have to write 1, 2, 3 in the first row and the corresponding value for the second row will be obtained from F2 by verifying downwards to upwards. That is, you find the pre-image of 1 not in this direction. So when you are seeing in this top to bottom direction, it is image. When you are seeing from bottom to top direction, then it is the pre-image. So in pre-image of 1 is 3. So you write 3 here. Similarly, pre-image of 2 is 2. Pre-image of 3 is 1. So after finishing writing all the pre-images, you see that F2 inverse is equal to F2 itself. You may find from all these functions that F1, F2, F3 all will have self inverses. That is, F1 inverse will be equal to F1, F2 inverse will be equal to F2, and F3 inverse equal to F3. And R1 and R2 are inverses to each other. So in this set S3, that is set of all permutation on a set of 3 elements, we are having 6 elements, 6 functions, and these 6 functions operated with themselves will have 36 composition of functions, and it could be filled in a Cayley table. So this permutation group S3 will have the Cayley table like this. So the Cayley table of S3 is filled like this. You have to do all the 36 composition of functions and fill this table. You may note that this E, R1, R2 alone form a subgroup of this group. Yes, of course, this is a group. We have all the resulting elements from this set, so it is closed. And E is the identity. And the inverse of these elements we'll see. I have written inverse of E is E, inverse of R1 is R2, inverse of R2 is R1. So inverse of these elements, these are all self inverses. So the inverse of E, R1, R2, F1, F2, F3 are E, R2, R1, F1, F2, F3 respectively. In this group we are having all elements are self inverses except these two, R1 and R2 are inverse to each other. Hence S3 comma dot is a group. We may note that this is an example for a non-abelian group. Here when you are multiplying R1 into F1, this row, this value you are having F2. R1 F1 is F2, but F1 R1 when you are multiplying you get F3. So these two are not equal. Now we shall see the symmetric group S4. That is, here we are considering a set A with 4 elements 1, 2, 3 and 4. And as previously discussed, Sn will have n factorial elements. So S4 will have 4 factorial, that is equal to 24 elements, 24 functions in it. And of course S4 comma dot is a group which is called a symmetric group. Here the elements will be of this form. In first row we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, the elements of A arranged in order, and in the second row the rearrangement of these elements will be there. As E is the identity mapping or identity element, each element is mapped onto itself. So the image and the pre-image will be same. We'll do some composition on this function in S4. Consider two elements of S4, namely V is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first row and 2, 1, 4, 3 in the second row, and U is equal to, as usual, 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first row and the rearrangement 3, 1, 2, 4 in the second row. Now we can find UV and also VU. As in S3, we are going to find VU in the similar way. Here 1 goes to 2 and 2 goes to 1. So 1 goes to 1. To find VU, first you are going to write the elements 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first row, and you are going to find the image of 1 under U first, and then you are going to find the image of 1 under V first and then U. So image of 1 is 2, that 2 goes to 1. So the image of 1 is 1. Similarly 2 goes to 1 and 1 goes to 3. So image of 2 is 3. 3 goes to 4 and 4 goes to 4. So the image of 3 is 4. Now finally 4. For 4 the image is 3 here, that 3 goes to 2. So the image of 4 is 2. So similarly you can find UV also. But here you are going to find the image first in U and then in V. Here first we have found in V and then in U. So we have obtained this result. Here also first you write the numbers in the same order 1, 2, 3, 4. To find the image of 1 under the composition of function UV, first you have to find the image of 1 in U and then that corresponding image in V. So here in U 1 goes to 3 and 3 goes to 4 in V. So the image of 1 is 4 under UV. Next 2 goes to 1 and 1 goes to 2. So 2 goes to 2. Similarly 3 goes to 2 in U and the corresponding 2 goes to 1 in V. Therefore the image of 3 is 1. And finally 4 goes to 4, that 4 goes to 3. So 4 goes to 3. So you can see from these two VU and UV are not equal. So to find the inverse, as already said, first you write the given numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 in the same order in the first row and then write the corresponding pre-images. A pre-image of 1 is 2. A pre-image of 2 is 1. A pre-image of 3 is 4. Pre-image of 4 is 3. So we have obtained that same. V inverse is equal to V. Similarly for U inverse, you write all 1, 2, 3, 4 in the first row and the corresponding pre-images you obtain from U. So the pre-image of 1 is 2, pre-image of 2 is 3, pre-image of 3 is 1. So from down to upward, you will collect the corresponding numbers. So the pre-image of 3 is 1, which is written here, and finally pre-image of 4 is 4. So U inverse has been obtained like this. So there exists a subgroup H of S4 which contains the 8 rigid motions of a square, which we shall see next. And this 8 rigid motions or this set H has 8 elements. Totally S4 has 24 elements and these 24 elements have been partitioned into 3 sets. So H divides S3 into 3 partitions. You can see that. Next we shall see the rigid motions of a square. Consider a square whose vertices are labeled as 1, 2, 3, 4 in clockwise direction. So similar to the rigid motions of a triangle, we can do some transformations on this square to obtain an image which is symmetric to this image except for the labeling. So you may rotate this square to an angle of 90 degree anti-clockwise. So one rotation through 90 degree anti-clockwise give the new labeling R1. So again you may rotate this R1 to 90 degree to get another labeling, or you may rotate this E to 180 degree to get another labeling. So the new labeling is R2, where you have 3, 4, 1, 2. Similarly, you can do another rotation also to an angle of 270 degree anti-clockwise. So now we have obtained 4, 1, 2, 3. Suppose if we rotate this final image or 3 again to an angle of 90 degree anti-clockwise, we will get the initial image E. So here you are having 4, 1, 2, 3. If you rotate again, we will have 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we are having another 4 lines. You may see that you are having horizontal line which makes this square symmetry, and a vertical line and 2 diagonal lines. The 2 diagonals, these are the image is symmetric about all these 4 lines. So we can perform some reflections or a flip so that we get the initial images, so that we get an image symmetric to this initial image. So here we had kept this diagonal joining 1 and 3 fixed, and these two numbers have been interchanged. 2 and 4 have been interchanged as 4 and 2. Similarly, you can fix this diagonal joining 2 and 4 fixed, and we can flip to get the new labeling. So here 2 and 4 is fixed in this image E, and 1 and 3 are interchanged. So fixing this vertical line, and we have flipped these two, so you have the new labeling 3. So fixing this line, we have obtained the symmetric image or the mirror image as 4, 3, 2, 1. Similarly, keeping this line fixed, we have obtained the flip image or the mirror image with new labeling 2, 1, 4, 3. So these 8 permutations or arrangement of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 forms a subgroup of S4, the permutation group S4. So in this permutation, the arrangement gave, so in all these transformation, the resulting image was symmetric to the initial image. But there are certain permutation where you won't get an image symmetric to this square, but the numbers may be altered. As you can see here in this slide, that fixing one end of that square, you have tilted the other 2 vertices. So initially we had 1, 2, 3, 4, but we have tilted this, fixing this center point. So these 2 vertices alone has been changed, which means you have twisted it in a 3D direction. So these are all new permutations of those numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, but they are not symmetric to the square. So these are not rigid motions of a square, but these are all arrangements of 1, 2, 3, 4. In the same manner, we can fix these base vertices fixed and twist the 2 vertices in the top. So initially we had 1, 2, 3, 4, but now we have 1, 3, 2, 4. So these 8 images are obtained from the initial squares by twisting the top two vertices, fixing the base vertices. So totally 8 plus 8 plus 8, 24 ways of arranging these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4 have been obtained. We shall see the direct product of two groups. Consider two groups G, dot and H, star. Consider the set of all Cartesian products of G and H. What is Cartesian product? You consider the ordered pair G, H, where the first element G belongs to G and the second element H belongs to capital H. Define the binary operation on G cross H as follows. So you are considering two elements from G cross H. The first element is G1, H1 and the second element is G2, H2. So this dot is defined like this. Ordered pair G1 dot G2, H1 star H2. That is here the first two elements are from the first set G. So you do the operation dot operation which is defined on G. Similarly, the second two elements are from the set H and where we had the binary operation star. So you do this operation. So this is well defined binary operation. Then G cross H, dot is a group. We shall prove that in a theorem. So this G cross H, dot is called the direct product of G and H. First we shall see an example for direct product and then visualize it. Then we shall see the proof that direct product is a group. Consider the groups Z2, addition modulo 2 and Z3, addition modulo 3. So what are the elements of Z2? Z2 will have 0 and 1 as its element and in Z3 will have 0, 1, 2 and 3. So what will the element in the Cartesian product Z2 cross Z3? So you take one element from this first set and you write it as a combined with the elements of Z3. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Likewise 1, 0, 1, 1 and 1, 2. So here the operation dot is defined like this. The first elements are from Z2 and the second elements are from Z3. So A, B dot C, D is equal to A addition modulo 2 C, B addition modulo 3 D. So when you are adding these two elements, you should use addition modulo 2, first two elements. For second elements, you took the elements from the set Z3, so the operation should be addition modulo 3. Then G, dot is a direct product of Z2 and Z3. It is a group of order 6. You can find the Cayley table for this also, or you may verify like this. I am taking two elements from the set G, that is 1, 2 and 0, 1. So when you are operating this dot, you should combine this first elements 1 plus 0. That we should have the addition modulo 2. For second element 2 plus 1, there you have addition modulo 3. So 1 plus 0 is 1. Under addition modulo 2 it is 1. 2 plus 1 is 3. Under addition modulo 3 it is 0. So the result is 1, 0. You may see that this 1, 0 belongs to this set. The identity element is 0, 0. So where this 0 is identity of Z2 and this 0 is identity of Z3. The inverse of 1 comma 2 is 1 comma 1 and that of 0 comma 1 is 0 comma 2. You can verify this. 1 plus 1 will give 0 under addition modulo 2. 2 plus 1 give 3 which is equal to 0 under addition modulo 3. Similarly, for each element you can find the inverse. Now we shall see the proof that the direct product of two groups is again a group. Let G comma dot and H comma star be two groups. As defined already, G cross H, the Cartesian product of G and H is like this. You consider three elements from the set G and three elements from the set H. So to prove that G cross H is a group, we should define that binary operation G on G cross H as we have already defined. So to verify the closure condition, we see that G1 comma H1 dot G2 comma H2 is defined like this. G1 dot G2 comma H1 star H2. We know that G is a group, so G1 dot G2 belongs to G. Similarly, H1 star H2 belongs to H. Therefore, this resulting element will be in G cross H. Also, associativity holds good. As in G and H associativity holds, we are going to consider this associativity property here. You consider this G1 dot G2 dot G3 comma H1 star H2 star H3. This will be equal to G1 dot G2 dot G3. This is for associativity in G. Similarly, using associativity in H, you will have like this. Now, by the definition of dot, you can write G1 comma H1 separately and write this together. Similarly, here first element is fixed, so collect G3 and H3 separately. As a result, associativity holds in G cross H also. The identity elements are obtained using this. If EG is the identity element of G and EH is the identity element of H, then EG comma EH belonging to G cross H is the identity for G cross H. Since when you operate G comma H on the left side of EG comma EH, you will have G dot EG comma H star EG. But as EG is identity, you will have G dot EG will be equal to G and H star EH will be equal to H. So this is G comma H. Similarly, when you are operating on the right side also, you get G comma H. Similarly, you can find the inverses also. If G inverse and H inverse are the inverses of G and H respectively, then G comma H dot G inverse comma H inverse will be equal to G dot G inverse comma H star H inverse, which will be equal to EG comma EH. On operating on the right side and left side, both these will be equal to EG comma EH. Hence, inverse exists. So we have seen that a closure, associativity, existence of identity, existence of inverse, all the four conditions for a group are satisfied in G cross H. Hence, G cross H is a group under this operation dot. Thank you.